Merlin's beard. How did you...
Wait! We do.
Hang on!
I never cared much for Harry Potter. By the time the Harry Potter books were released, I already had read the Lord of the Rings series.
Where there's a wit,
I found the Sorcerer's Stone to be frustratingly childish.
there's a way.
I was the right age for it, but I picked the book up once and then never again. I think my parents were disappointed. When the films were released some several years later, I saw an uproar of excitement in everyone around me. Harry Potter films were the biggest thing since sliced bread in my school, and I felt completely left out. I suppose I still do in a way. I saw each of the films once as a child and then again last year. I appreciate them as films, but I can't say in honesty that I have any nostalgia for them. I say all this so that you understand that I am not the target audience for Portkeys Games' Hogwarts Legacy. That didn't stop me, though. I purchased Hogwarts Legacy day one because I knew that it would be big. And now that it's outsold Elden Ring, it looks like I was right. Hogwarts Legacy is first and foremost an RPG that fails in its RPG mechanics. Choices that matter are nowhere to be found, long gone are the days of more than 2 dialogue options, and there's barely any role-playing in it at all. This is a role-playing game in the sense that it has stats. 3 stats to be precise. Defense, offense, and health. That's it. These stats are dictated by your level and by your equipped items. This is the bare bones of what could be considered an RPG. I'm not saying that I expected Planescape Torment, but I think I speak for all of us when I say I expected more than this. HogLeg would benefit greatly from an expanded dialogue system.
I completed the list of tasks you assigned.
I lived, bitch.
Wonderful. I trust you became more familiar with your broom through the process?
Yeah?
Yes, Professor.
Something even as simple as Mass Effect would do the trick. But instead we're stuck with Breath of the Wild dialogue. Now there is a game that this really wants to be. The open world aspect of HogLeg is impressive in some aspects. The world is massive in scale and there's plenty to do, side quests to discover, dungeons to plunder, mini-games to play. Fast travel makes an appearance, as I'm sure everyone was expecting, but the game takes the Dark Souls approach of requiring you to fast travel at a bonfire, or in this case, a flue flame. Flue flames can be found all over the world map and inside of settlements like Hogsmeade and Hogwarts. They are usually next to points of interest and act as checkpoints if you die in the wilderness. The alternative to using these magical teleporting points is to ride your broom to your destination, but riding your broom is boring and time-consuming. There's no point to it either, since there's no Quidditch in this game, and the only flying minigame is literally just Superman 64. Everyone is going to choose to teleport over fly unless they need to make a lot of stops on the way or they're bored and are exploring the map. If you've played World of Warcraft, it's a lot like using a flying mount there. Nothing to do in the air except occasionally press the left mouse button to accelerate as your broom's stamina recovers in a bar on the bottom right hand of the screen. Thankfully, this doesn't extend to sprinting like in Breath of the Wild, or traversing Hogwarts itself would be extremely obnoxious. The school itself, from an environmental standpoint, is wonderfully realized. Though if you know anything about world design, you'll notice one of the cardinal sins. There are a lot of reoccurring objects. I personally can't stop noticing how many damn globes there are in Hogwarts. There is a globe in every room. A room's importance in Hogwarts can be completely determined by how many globes it has. You know, I've never listened to a single Drake song. Have you ever listened to Drake? Look at all the globes. I'm gonna House of Globes. This game is just about globes. Secretly.
That's the closet.
Seriously, what is this room?
Extra globe.
What is this room? Why are there 6 globes? 7 globes. 8 globes in this one room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 globes. Classrooms have 3 to 4 globes, common rooms have over 5, and random hallways and staircases usually have 1. I'm not joking. Look around for globes in this game. You'll notice the same 5 or 6 globes over and over again. It's embarrassing and destroys any sense of immersion. This had to have been someone's job. I can't believe that it made it past testing. The moving paintings, ghosts, and shifting stairs are all great if you have enough RAM for this game to load them at over 20 frames per second. When I first played this game, I had 16 gigs of RAM in my machine. I struggled to get over 30 frames per second. I purchased another stick of RAM, and now I'm running a clean frame rate. Word to the wise, update your RAM if you're going to play HogLeg. It's a glutton. The particle effects when you cast spells are a loving recreation from the film, and they look fantastic when the game runs well. Pop-in and textures loading too slowly are unfortunately abundant, and the facial animation looks robotic on every single character. Pop-in is generally at its worst when you're running through Hogwarts or flying over the world map, and objects clipping into one another is so common that I thought it was a frontline feature. Sometimes your machine needs to load what's behind a door, and you'll have to stand in front of the door for a while waiting for a rotating circle effect to fade before your character will open it. Graphically, it's a real mess. Culling objects and recreating them isn't this game's strong suit, but there is nothing worse than the audio. Lines of dialogue are repeated ad nauseum. I can't tell you how many times I heard a character say,
Sometimes it seems all roads lead to Hogsmeade.
Or the Floo Flames yelling about, "You'll never believe how difficult travel was before I invented Floo powder." Repeated dialogue is bad, but this is truly something else. Teleportation in this game can happen every 5 minutes, and you'll hear the repeated lines of dialogue every single time you teleport. Every time you go to Hogsmeade, every time you see a puzzle, it's driving me up a wall. But that's not the main thing that kills me about this game. Some of these people sound like cheese graters, but my main character sounds like a robot.
I'll find you at the tower as soon as I can.
I get it, voice acting is expensive, but there is no excuse for how compressed and pitch shift every line of dialogue that comes out of my character's mouth sounds. The audio engineer at Portkey Games must have been the same guy in charge of the globes. This is unbelievable. It's infuriating that the music sounds so good, but the voices sound so bad. The music here is so beautiful. Almost every song is a perfect recreation of the series' score's tone. If you're a fan of the films, you'll feel engrossed in the environments 100%. That is, if you can get the music to play, I guess. I can't tell you how many times I would be doing nothing but traveling across the game world on a broom, and the music would refuse to play, forcing me to sit in absolute silence. It can make scenes extremely boring, to say the least. But if you play video games very often, action games especially, you'll likely find yourself bored with the gameplay in general. Believe it or not, HogLeg is a looter shooter with a limited inventory and no sell all button in the shop. You shoot enemies with your wand's basic attack while waiting for offensive spells to recharge. Then you pop all your spells rapid fire, then repeat. It's effectively no different than having a gun, and it reminds me a lot of like Tom Clancy's The Division, but with recharging special ammo or something. I guess it also looks like what I imagine Warframe plays like, but the closest comparison is definitely the Arkham series. HogLeg takes aspects from Arkham and sanitizes them into a safe, marketable game that prioritizes selling copies and being addicting over innovation and craftsmanship. It's third-person action and looting gameplay, with small mini-games sprinkled between. Mini-games that are terrible, by the way. The lockpicking minigame tasks you with spinning 2 wheels, an outer wheel and an inner wheel. Each wheel has to be rotated to a specific angle to open the door, and that's it. There's no way of guessing the angle or any skill to the minigame. You just rotate the wheels and then stop when an animation starts playing. This can't be called a minigame. This isn't a game or even a puzzle. This is busy work. But the astronomy game is probably the worst. You zoom in on a picture and line up the dots with a transparent PNG overlay. That's literally all there is to it. There is no time limit or any puzzle aspect. What kills me is that there have historically been several great minigames for unlocking and hacking. We have the pipe puzzle minigame from BioShock, the tumblers from Oblivion. Hell, the Skyrim lockpicking minigame is better than this. There is no risk here. A game is defined by having a fail state and a win state, and there is no fail state. This is literally not a game. The other mini games aren't any better, but the worst of them is definitely potion brewing and herbology, which the game will force you to do to unlock new spells and progress the game. These activities are literally nothing but watching a bar fill up or waiting for a timer to go down. Here's how potion crafting works. You go to the store in Hogsmeade and buy whatever you need to make the potion. You go back to your hub room, the room of requirement, and select the potion from a menu at your potion crafting station. Then you wait an arbitrary amount of time before you can press F to collect the brewed potion. Yet again, this is not a game. This is a time waster. There is no way to lose at brewing a potion. So many things in HogLeg go this way. It's embarrassing. Once I went to class and it was just a cutscene. Did you want to go to class and be tasked with epic wizard challenges? Maybe compete with your classmates, grow closer to them through your successes and failures, form a bond and play pranks? Well, too bad. Instead, you get a cutscene with no dialogue in a room with half a dozen globes. This is so weird. I can't believe that a game development studio would claim for something like this to be an RPG. The cherry on top is that at the end of the day, your character's just going to be Harry Potter with a murdering problem. You can't make your own character or make any meaningful decisions that dictate your character's personality. Your character can be a little bit sniffy in that posh English way, but in the end, you are always forced into just being a Harry Potter ripoff with no identity of your own. If you wanted to play a renegade for life wizard, you are out of luck. You will be forced to be the good but mischievous child that everyone loves and needs help from due to your epic Kekkei Genkai bloodline technique. You will be loved and cherished by those around you, and you will be heralded as a hero, and that is as far as Portkey Games is going to let you go. That leash is tight. This is a typical quality of a game made by committee. Personally, I hate things like this. It will sell like hotcakes because of its brand recognition and aversion to taking risks. It doesn't care in the least about being a video game that breaks the mold. It cares about profits. Comment below what you want me to cover next, and I'm giving Hogwarts Legacy a 5 out of 10. Mediocre. Subscribe for more I'll Review Anything. Special thanks to our producers, Anthony Wumbo, John Foreman, Zachary Coroner, and Biffman. Happy President's Day.